A very good evening to all of you and welcome to Application Webinar for Foundation in Science IMU. I am Kanagamala Subramaniam, the current Program Director for Foundation in Science, and I will be your host for today. This evening, we have two important agenda lined up for you to enlighten you on Foundation in Science IMU. Firstly, we have the Director of Center for Pre-University Studies, Dr. James Edward Walsh, for his live talk on reasons to study Foundation in Science IMU. Next, it will be followed by a briefing by Mr. Yap Chen Leong, the Head of Admissions, on matters relating to admission procedures. We will then proceed with the Q&A session. Before we proceed, I would like to remind you on a few housekeeping rules. We have muted the microphone for all attendees. For questions and feedback, please use the Q&A panel. This live webinar session will be recorded. Without further ado, let's welcome Dr. James Edward Walsh for his live talk. Welcome, Dr. James.
Thanks, Ms. Kanaga. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I see we have about 70 plus nearly 80 attendees. And I believe there's some from international countries, Bangladesh and the Middle East. I'm currently in Ireland visiting my family. So hopefully we don't have any Wi-Fi problems. It's about midday here, so different time difference. And I'm here to talk to you about the reasons why you would choose our Foundation in Science course as your main pathway from IGCSE and Malaysian SPM equivalent into our undergraduate degree courses. So I'll give you a brief overview and then we'll get on with some questions and answers. All of the information I'm going to present is in our brochure, which I think will be shared in the chat here. And also my email address and that of Ms. Kanaga's will be shared at the end, and we're available to answer any questions you have after this session by email, or if you want to talk to us personally, then we can arrange a chat. So I'm the director of the Pre-University Center, and our main course is Foundation in Science. I also teach physics. I am not a medical doctor, I'm a PhD doctor. I teach physics on the course, and I teach computing studies and cross-boundary studies, which is our IMU Cares social needs module. So it's pretty broad-based teaching. For the computing studies, I'll teach you how to write mobile apps for your mobile phone, so to make it interesting and try and contextualize why someone who wants to do medicine or dentistry or pharmacy or Chinese medicine would be doing physics or computing studies or the other professional studies elements of the course, which makes Foundation different. So an overview of the course, it's a one-year program. So you're going to do an A-level equivalent program, because obviously day one in undergraduate, you'll be sitting alongside A-level students and those from STPM, Australian Matric, etc. So you have to have the same skills base as them in terms of science, day one. The intakes are in March. We just had an orientation last week, but this intake is still open for a further approximately 2 weeks. So if you wish to join that intake, you can do so by contacting our admissions team as soon as possible. We have an intake in July and one in August/early September. And these are designed to dovetail into IGCSE results, SPM results, and also to articulate into our undergraduate programs next year. So you can go straight into your chosen undergraduate career choice without a delay, or you can wait for the next intake. Most undergraduate programs have 2 intakes. So Foundation in Science is designed to accommodate progression into our degrees. I'll say more about that in a minute. So in this 1 year, you're going to do 3 semesters. So roughly 14 semesters with 5 subjects per semester. And these are the core sciences you need, A-level based sciences and professional studies, which are informed by not only A-levels, but by our undergraduate programs. What sort of soft skills do students need to be successful in a broad range of undergraduate courses? So our curriculum, as well as being based on A-level, is also informed by our undergraduate professors and lecturers so that it's fine-tuned to suit your needs when you go to an IMU undergraduate course. Very important. 50% assessment, 50% exam. So it's more university oriented. A-levels is excellent. It's more school oriented. It's primarily by a large set of exams at the end of a longish period of study, either 1 or 2 years. In foundation, you have an exam every semester, and each subject is divided into exam and assessment. And I'll highlight this a bit more later. And some students, this suits them very well. So we have students who join foundation in science who've attempted A-levels and have not favored that type of study and have done great in foundation. And we can put you in touch with some of these senior buddies, foundation students that are now in our undergraduate programs who have experienced this, and they can enlighten you from that point of view. Then we have bursaries. If you have 8 A's or 8 A pluses in your IGCSE or SPM in the most recent sittings of those exams, you'll get 50% off your fees. And then we also, if you progress into our undergraduate program, we will revert back the 50% you paid, prorated in your undergraduate fees. So foundation effectively becomes free of charge. If you have a lesser number of A's or all B's, then you'll pay partial or full fees, and we'll still revert back 50% of what you paid when you progress into one of our foundation, our undergraduate programs, prorated in your undergraduate degrees. And this also includes our partner track. Okay, so we have 12 health science degree options. That's what we call local tracks. So you will graduate as a Malaysian doctor or a Malaysian dentist or a Malaysian scientist. We have partner track, where you do an initial period. For medicine, for example, it's typically 2.5 years, what was commonly known as the junior cycle here in Malaysia. And then you'll leave us, you'll credit transfer to one of our partners in Australia, New Zealand, my country, Ireland, England, Canada, for Chinese medicine, mainland China, and you will complete your degree there. You will become an Australian doctor or an Irish dentist or wherever the partner's from. So you'll graduate from there. If you want to come back to Malaysia and practice for many of these professions, you'll have to do professional exams. And we also have direct entry to other universities, both here in Malaysia, IPTSs, private universities. Now foundation is accepted for entry to IPTAs, public universities. We have students going to UPM and UKM. And they also use the foundation program to apply directly abroad to a broad range of degrees, some of which we have in IMU, and some are completely different. They go and do optometry or physiotherapy or some degree we don't have. So you can use the foundation program on a case-by-case basis to apply to a foreign university, and we'll help you with that. However, our aim is to maintain 85% progression into our local and partner track degree programs. And for the last 4 or 5 years, that has been true. So the students work hard, we teach you hard, we teach you well, and we give you the skill sets to progress and for progression in the degree. We check the foundation students' progression in degree to make sure they're passing and doing well, and if not, why not, and how can we adjust the course to make it better for them. If you're doing a fixed curriculum, like for example, A-level, which again, as I repeat, is excellent, the IGCSE or Cambridge make the changes to that course. It's not informed by IMU or a particular university's undergraduate programs. So foundation is particularly suited to progression to our degrees. While you're in foundation, you have certain inherent advantages over incoming pre-use students from other courses. You get briefings while you're in semester 2, generally, from all of the degrees. The departments in each faculty come and give a briefing. Sometimes it has fun elements like trial laboratories, trial clinical skills, etc. And they're very engaging, so you can make an informed choice. If you came to do one particular degree, like say medicine, and you were particularly impressed by the biomedical science, what we call look-see field sessions or these briefings, then you might say, oh, I'm interested, I prefer to be a scientist and do a PhD and become a doctor that way. So you get informed during these briefings, bring the information back to your parents, discuss it with your parents and your IMU mentor. After semester 2 exams, we'll have a look at the semesters in a minute, but after semester 2 exams, if you have sufficient CGPA, so for example, let's use medicine, which is the most common example, If your CGPA is 3.5 and above, which is a B plus A minus average, then you can apply for the next intake of medicine, do your interview while you're in semester 3, get all the paperwork out of the way, and secure your place pending your semester 3 foundation results. It's very, very, very rare that a student messes up semester 3. They usually maintain their CGPA or improve it, particularly as there's electives in semester 3, which you've chosen to do. They're subjects you like. So you can secure your place in semester 2, 10 to 14 weeks ahead of all other pre-U students who might be applying externally to IMU. We also have buddies, as I mentioned, in all degree programs. These are former foundation students who did foundation, who are now in our degrees in semesters 1, 2, 3, etc. If they're on partner track, they may have left already for a foreign country, and they can advise you about your electives, what are the useful aspects for them from the point of view of foundation in science, where to put your emphasis, and tell you about what teaching is like in degree and how it prepares you well for it, we hope. And all the evidence is that foundation does prepare you very well for our degree programs and external programs as well. So here's the program structure. 3 semesters. So as I said, unlike A-levels, you would take in A-levels, if you did biology 1, biology 2, biology 3, and biosciences, that's actually more biology knowledge than, say, A-level biology. But that in A-levels, that knowledge would be examined here at the end of a long period of study, 1 or maybe 2 years. In foundation, you have a 1-year program divided into 3 14-week semesters, and you gradually build up your biology knowledge. Pass your biology 1 exam, hopefully get a good grade, go into biology 2. Obviously, you bring the knowledge with you into biology 2, and so forth onto biology 3. So that's exactly the way undergraduate is. In medicine, it's a 5-year course, but we as academics talk about 10 semesters, 2 semesters per year. So you gradually build up the knowledge to become a medical doctor. Same way in foundation, same kind of learning. And here's the electives that we have in semester 3 that I mentioned. You can do more chemistry if you want to do pharmacy or sometimes medicine. But if you're picking an undergraduate, it doesn't require that much chemistry. You might pick psychology, for example, if you're going into our psychology program, applied statistics with Python if you're going into our Bachelor of Digital Health, and biosciences, which is very useful for all of the health science degrees, particularly medicine. And you'll notice the soft skills, English for academic purposes. That is, how good is your English? How can English for healthcare professionals? How can you apply it? How can you write a professional medical report? Because you're going to have to be reporting as a scientist or a doctor or a clinician. So you need to be able to express yourself professionally in the current language of science, which is English. Applied biophysics, which I teach, computing studies, which I mentioned before, thinking skills, very analytical. So by the time you get to semester 3, you'll be learning more like a university student. You'll be applying your knowledge, not rote learning like you were in school. So the first semester is a bit more school-oriented. Try and change your mindset from being a school-based learning student to being a university-based learning student. So for example, bioscience is applied biology. Psychology, you can't rote learn it. You have to understand it. Same with thinking skills. So by the time you enter your degree, you're learning in a much broader way. So what factors lead to the success of a foundation in science student, both in the program itself and later on in degree? A well-designed curriculum informed by our undergraduate colleagues. Thorough exposure to degrees. You're in the campus with the seniors. You have access to the buddies. You get look-see feel sessions in semester 2 from the undergraduate. You or your parents can arrange a meeting with any professor from any department at any time in advance if you wanted to sit down and discuss what is medical biotech all about, what is Chinese medicine all about. Information is power, and it's very important. You're making a very important decision from your welfare point of view and from a financial point of view as a family. So you need good information, extensive pastoral care, guidance and nurture from your foundation mentors. Mentoring is very important. You're transitioning from everything being managed by your teacher in school to you managing it yourself by the time you get to your undergraduate program. And your mentor teaches you how to manage your education as well as keeping you on target for your undergraduate course. Are the grades you're getting in your assessments and your exams in line with those required for entry to your chosen undergraduate course? If not, why not? How do we fix it? If you can't reach that grade, what's plan B? Do you have another course in mind with a lower entry requirement? Strong team of dedicated lecturers. So the foundation science lecturers are especially trained to teach in a pre-university way. They're not university professors, they're not school teachers, they're a bridge between the two. And it's a particular type of teaching. And I've had to learn how to do it. I used to be an undergraduate lecturer. And you have to teach in the way that the students want to learn, and also as their mindset changes from school-based learning to university-based learning. So we've got to adapt and evolve our teaching as you progress through the course. Regulations and procedures. Read the course documents, read the timetable, read the student handbook. Very important. It's our pact with you. It's what we're going to deliver. Teaching is aligned with that in undergraduate. As I said, there'll be school-based elements at the beginning, but gradually we'll change your mindset to university-based learning. If you go into your undergraduate program still rote learning, you're going to have trouble. There's too much knowledge in a medical or a dental degree to rote learn, or any of the other degrees. Be involved in student life. Even with MCO and online teaching, we've had Kahoot quizzes and fun competitions in maths and chemistry, which is online. Hopefully we're coming back face-to-face, touch wood. So get involved in student life. Have a good work-life balance as per the last point. Study hard, but have a good social life. You'll make contacts and friends in university that will be with you for the rest of your life. Give back to the community through IMU Cares. Students who go to a prestigious university like IMU are usually blessed to be from a secure background. So we encourage you and teach you to do charitable work, give back to the community, and it also helps with your CV. For example, when you're going for your medical interview, you can mention the things you've done. And continuous lifelong learning. Okay, I've been a university lecturer for 30 plus years, and I'm still learning every day. And if my student tells me something I don't know about physics or biophysics or computing, I'm happy. It's good. My students they have more knowledge than me in some areas. It means I'm a good teacher. So you're going to be learning forever. You're never going to say, I know all of medicine, that's it. You're constantly going to be learning. Okay, back to this important point, coursework and end of semester exam. If you have a subject that you find tricky, let's say, for example, maths, because you didn't do additional maths in school, in IGCSE or SPM, then make sure that you do well in the 2 maths tests during the semester. There's no laboratories for maths. So that when you go into the end of semester exam, you have a strong base, a strong mark, let's say 40 over 50. So technically you only need to get 10 over 50 in the exam to pass, but don't. Hopefully you'll get more, get a B or even an A. The coursework for biology and chemistry includes laboratories. If you write up your laboratories, go through the laboratory procedure as instructed, you should get an A for those. And the laboratories constitute 25 or half of the 50%, so 25% total. So that should be marks in the bag. Do not waste that opportunity. When you go on to the degrees, there's considerable amount of degree is by assessment. As far as I know, currently in the medical program, the first professional exams don't occur till the end of semester 3, 1.5 years into the course. The first 2 semesters are almost completely by assessment or OSCE. So coursework and assessment and self-learning is vital, and we'll teach you how to do that. So again, unique teaching and learning. So we're going to change your mindset from school-based teaching and learning to university-based, self-directed learning. Don't wait for me as your mentor or your teacher to tell you where to go and find the learning. Go and find it. If you can't find it, ask us. You have paid us to educate you, so use the facilities, use the online learning platform. Don't wait for the knowledge to come to you. Work in collaborative projects. Learn to be a team member. You can't say in life, I don't want to work with that person because I don't like them or whatever. That's not the way it works. You've got to be collaborative, work in projects for the benefit of your patients or whatever project you're working on. Develop your presentation and writing skills. Very important. Presentation is key. If you do good science or good medicine, but you present it badly, it may appear as bad science or medicine. So learn to present. Even if presenting and public speaking or English is not your forte, improve it. That's all you can do, improve it. And do your continuous assessments. So this whole concept is called experiential learning. It's not just sitting in a classroom, learn, wrote. Lots of different ways knowledge is going into your head. So you have class tests, end of semester exams, practicals, reports, assignments, projects. So if you're not a class test kind of person and you expect not to score high, make sure you maximize the other elements of the assessment to compensate. So be strategic, manage your education. And we're here to help you manage. Your parents are paying us to teach you and to help you manage your education. But you have to be involved in that process too. You're actually at the front of it. Okay, again, 3 intakes, all dovetailed into our undergraduate programs roughly a year later. The March intake, if you want to do dentistry in IMU, there's 1 intake for dentistry next year in 2023, and that's in February, April. It depends on when you join with MPU subjects or not. So if you want to do dentistry, we advise you to join the March intake. Otherwise, you will have to wait till our intake in 2024. So do your homework. Have a look at the dentistry catalog or dentistry brochures, and have a look at the foundation brochure and be strategic. The July intake allows you to join the August-September intakes of undergraduate, and the August-September intake allows you to join the September intakes. So when you see in the brochure there's an August intake for, say, medicine, that means students join in August, they do their government MPU subjects, TTAS, HASA, Malayu, etc. And then they start their medical lectures in September, at which stage the August intake or foundation have joined them, and they will do their government MPU subjects later in parallel or on the weekends. But you choose the intake that suits you best academically and best personally. It's not a race. So this picture was obviously taken before MCO. Such gatherings have not been allowed for 2 years. Hopefully we'll be able to take a picture of you and your fellow intakes this year. But it's a team, it's fun, it's hard work. The staff are all dynamic and all, compared to me, relatively young. And we try and make it as enjoyable experience as possible. When students say to us, when we meet them in the corridor who are now in undergraduate program, they say, I wish I was back in Foundation in Science, Dr. James. It was great fun. Great. That's good. It means we helped you get to where you want to go, and also to build your character and build your knowledge so you can cope up in degree. So thanks for your time. We'll answer your questions. I see we have about 100 plus in at the moment. Please screenshot this or snap it. Email me, james.welch@imu.edu.my. You can call me on my office phone or message me, but introduce yourself. I was present at the etc. What do you want to do? So I can make an informed, I can give you an informed answer. Likewise, Ms. Canna is also available, and our great teams in admissions and marketing are also available. But I'm happy to sit down with you, even though I'm in Europe and it's -7. We can arrange a meeting if you want to have a chit chat with you and your parents, so we can plan the team for your education going forward. That's it. I'll leave that up so you can see it. Thank you, Canna.
Dr. James, it was a very clear talk indeed. Okay, so today we have our very own, those who are here today are very at advantage actually, because we have Mr. Yap from admissions who's going to do his briefing for us. Okay, so he can clarify any of your queries as well after this. So Mr. Yap, to you.
Thank you, Kanaga. Hi, good evening for those from Malaysia, and good afternoon, maybe good morning from those at overseas. Welcome for this. Welcome to this webinar. It's great to see so many people here in this webinar. Right. My name is Yap. I'm actually from the admission department. My role basically is to admit students. So what we are going to do now. Let me share my slide. Can I share my slide?
Oh yeah, I'll unshare. Yep,
yes, thank you, Dr. James. Okay. Yeah, let's do some usual stuff. Can you see my slide? That's the usual thing
Yes,
that
we
we
can.
Yep, yep.
right.
Loud and clear.
So okay, what we're going to do now, because what happened is that every time we have a lot of questions about admissions, application process, and all that. So here I am today, just to give you a brief introduction of our processes. I also have my colleagues here from the admission department. If you have any questions, you can always ask me after this session. So what we're going to do is that, of course, first of all, let's look at the intake dates. Okay, our foundation for this year, we have actually 3 intakes. The first intake actually we just started. Actually, is in March. It's actually on March, but we can still take in students until 15th of April. Now the next intake is actually in June 27. This is the date for our actually enrollment. Then the third intakes we have actually is on the August 29. Now, I think Dr. James have actually briefed you about the progression. So I also want to highlight the progression intake. Now, if you're taking up a March intake for foundation in science, then there's possibility for you to actually progress into the February intake, especially for dentistry, medicine, and chiropractic. These 3 programs, you can actually, from March intake for foundation, you can actually progress into the degree in February. Otherwise, especially for dentistry, you probably have to wait for another year, which you have to come probably in 2024 to join the dentistry program. So those students, if you're thinking of enrolling into the dentistry program in February, medicine program in February, and also chiropractic program in February, the March intake foundation is actually quite good options for you. Otherwise, you can join the June intake. Then you will progress into the following year, July or September, or in 2024 February onward. Then you can actually come in. Right, August, of course, August intake, if you join the August intake for foundation, then after that you progress into the September intake. Our foundation is a 1-year program, and there's 3 semesters. So if you join August, then you flow into the September or the intake after that. Now, what we're going to do is that normally after when you join the foundation program, we have a lot of activities. The school actually organize a lot of activities for you. And in semester 1, there's a lot of briefing. In semester 2, we actually before the MCO, we even bring you to our clinical campus and let you experience what is the particular discipline is all about. Like, for example, those that want to study medicine, you can even go to a clinical campus. Probably we'll revive that again. So to actually experience what are the learning or experience in our clinical campus. And from the admission side, what we're going to do is that we will actually start processing your application from your semester 3 in foundation. So when you come to semester 3, we will give you a briefing. Normally the first day or second day, the admission will come to the admission will come to the FIS group, and we'll give you a briefing in semester 3, and we will kickstart the application process. So those that actually apply for medicine and also dentistry, you can actually go and apply and go through the interview and get a conditional offer while you're still doing your foundation. That is actually a good thing about why we encourage you to do a foundation, because basically you immerse into the program already. You get to know what are the options available. You get to know the environment and the experience. You expose to all this experience for the undergraduate program. So it gives you a lot of information for you to make the decision. So I think that is actually important. So that's why we have a lot of students ask what's different between your foundation and the other pre-U program. Now, of course, because we are processing your application earlier, of course, we do give our foundation students some priority. For example, if you are a full mark student, let's say you're a straight A student, and we have another straight A student from A levels, and we have the last place to give, normally we will give it to our foundation student. That's normally our process because our foundation student do have that priority. But of course, if other people is a straight A student and you are a B student, then I mean competition comes in. So we'll definitely give it to the other A level student. But if your result is at par, like for example your CGPA is 4.0 and the other foundation CGPA is 4.0 also, we will definitely give it our priority. We'll definitely give it to our student. So that's why when you come to semester 3, when you're doing your foundation, when you come to semester 3, we will actually give you a briefing. Then we will actually coach you along the way. And you can always come to our admission department and check with us. And I will also give a lot of briefing. In fact, when you come to semester 2, we also will conduct an interview training for those that are interested to go into dentistry, medicine, or later pharmacy. Also probably have to go through the interview. So these are the support that we give from the admission department to our student. Now, always come to us with regard to admission process, right? We have a lot of students actually go to the senior, ask the senior, sometimes they got the wrong information because things are different. Like for example, this year's regulation, next year regulation probably change. So always come to us for the update, so we will support you, right? So remember the intake date for our foundation this year, March, we are still actually we are still opening for enrollment. Then the next one is July, then it's August. Then you can, for March intake, you can progress to next year, February for dentistry, medicine, chiropractic. Then otherwise you join July and September intake onward. For June, if you join June this year for our foundation, then you can only come into July next year, September, February onward. Then August, you will go into September, February onward, right? So application process very simple, okay? You don't have to come to our campus. We have actually moved everything digital. So you just go to our website, right? www.imu.edu.my. Everything is online, okay? Everything is online. Even the offer letter that we're going to send to you is also online, okay? Through your email and all that. So make sure when you apply, you make sure that you give us the most active email that you are using. Don't give us the email that you're going to use, you're going to abandon, or the email that you have not accessed for the past 2 years. Please don't use those kind of email. Use the most active email, because we will constantly engage with you, constantly actually communicate with you via email, right? So go to our website. What you need to do is that you go to the website, you can see there's a menu bar there. You just click menu, you will come to a screen like this, blue color screen. If you see the red color, means you're in the wrong side. So blue color screen, then you click apply now, then it will lead you to the application form. Very easy step, the application step by step. The form is there, it's very easy. You just key in the email and set it up and all that, then you start keying in all the information. The step is very easy. If you have a problem, don't panic, don't just stop there. Talk to us, okay? Talk to us. I will give you our contact later, and write to us so that we can support you. So that we can support you and complete the application. So the application process, again, is very simple, okay? Just go to our website, put in the application, that's it, right? Put in the application. And those that have actually attended today's session, what happened is that we will actually give a waiver of our application fee and also the registration fee, which is a total of 450. So if you apply today, okay, we will give you the waiver. So you don't have to pay anything. If you apply today, let's say, for example, after this session, immediately go to our website and start putting in all the application, the application fee is waived, okay? You don't have to pay anything. But just a note, when you put in the application towards the end of the page, they will ask you, please pay the application fee. You don't have to pay. You just stop there. We will pick it up. We will process your application if you're qualified, right? So the offer is until 6 April, which is tomorrow, until midnight tomorrow. Tomorrow, the whole day. I know, because after today, we probably will finish somewhere around 9 o'clock. Then you'll be so tired. You don't want to continue. Fine, no problem. You can actually do it tomorrow morning. Then after that, you can continue all the way until night. I give you 24 hours. It's more than enough for you to actually put in the application. So you can do it tomorrow until tomorrow midnight. You put in the application. We will not charge you the application fee. It's waived, okay? It's waived until tomorrow midnight, right? So do not pay anything, even though after you completed the whole application and all that, and they ask you to pay, don't pay anything. In case you pay, let's say, for example, some of you paid $150 because you're so worried. Don't worry, just talk to us. Then what happens is that we will let you know how to actually do the deductions and all that, right? So make sure you put in the application before 6 April. Anything after that, we will start charging the application fee, right? So the process is very easy. Make sure that you get ready all the documents. Make sure that you get ready all the documents. Submit everything to us. We will access your qualification. If you meet the requirement, then we will straight away issue you an offer letter. It takes us probably about 2 to 3 working days, and sometimes it's even 24 hours. 24 working hours, then we will send it to you, right? We will send it to you via email. That's why I say, please use your most active email. Some students, last time our experience that they use a school email, after that they left the school, they cannot access to the email. Then every time that we send a message to them, it cannot get to the student, right? So please make sure. Now, we have a lot of parents here. If you are helping your kids to actually apply, make sure that you give the access to your kid, or you have to check the email. Yeah, you have to check the email. Otherwise, if you use your own personal email to apply for your kid, you will receive a lot of email from IMU eventually. And we have actually parents complain, why you keep sending me email? You should send it to my son. But our system actually have captured your email. So if you want, actually create a account for the application, fine, but make sure that you constantly check the email. Right? Constantly check the email and check your spam also, because sometimes our email went to your spam as well. The offer letter went to your spam, right? So remember, the moment you put in the application, within 3 working days, actually 2 working days, you should receive the offer letter. If you are not received the offer letter, either we didn't process your application, there might be something is holding on to it, or it went to your spam mail. With that kind of situation, don't panic, just write to us. I will give you our contact later, right? So now, those that actually just set for your SPM examination, okay, examination already, don't have to worry. But if you want to join the March intake, it's possible. What you need to do is that you just have to give us your trial result or your forecast result. If you meet the requirement, your trial result and forecast result, if you meet the requirement, you can actually come in. But we still have to look at your actual result. When your actual result come out, you still have to fulfill the actual result. If you don't fulfill the actual result, if you don't fulfill the requirement with your actual result, we will still have to ask you to leave. So you can apply with your forecast result for March intake if you want to join us. But when the result released in May, you still have to give us the actual result. So the actual result eventually still have to meet the requirement. So we have cases where their forecast result meet the requirement, but actual result came out. Unfortunately, some of the subject they didn't get through, but we have no choice but to ask the student to actually withdraw from the program or resit the SPM and join us later. They cannot continue. That is regulation, right? Now, those that want to join July, September, okay, if you are from SPM group, you should have the result by then. You should have even the certificate by then, right? So you should submit all the actual document, actual results to us. Now for the O-level group, those are sitting for O-level last year in November, I think, right? You already have your result, you already have a certificate, so use that to actual result to apply. Now those are sitting for O-level in May, unfortunately you cannot apply for March intake because you cannot go into foundation while doing the O-level. So you can only join the July intake, or I think probably the September intake, because July intake you probably have not got the result yet. Yeah, July intake you have not got the result, so you can only join the September intake. So the O-level, those O-level sitting for exam in May, okay, you can only join the September intake, right? Those March one, if you want to come in March, then no problem, right? No problem. You can actually, those March SPM March group, you want to join March intake, no problem. We can take that. We give provision for that group of students. Yeah. Okay, because technically you already completed the school, right? Right. So okay, again, to submit the application, please make sure you prepare this few documents. First, your IC. You make sure that you have a screenshot of IC. Take a nice picture of your IC. Okay, please respect your IC or passport. Take a nice picture of the passport. Okay, and then make sure that you have your result, your forecast result or your actual result ready. Okay, and those are doing O-level or those that have done O-level, make sure you have the statement or your certificate ready. Then you actually send in the application together with the online application form. Because in the online application form, we will ask you to deposit this document. So you have to get it ready and actually deposit the document to us, right? Right. A little bit, I think Dr. James has covered this. This is actually the bursary that we actually offer to our foundation student, right? Those have 8A and 8A plus, what happens is that we will give you a half of the tuition fee waiver, 12,450. Now, the first condition you must meet is all your science subject, mathematics, and English. They must be A plus of 4 out of 5 subjects in English, mathematics, and the 3 sciences. You can take a picture of this, yeah? No problem. So if you have A and A plus, you get 12,450 in your foundation. 7A and A plus, you get 5,000. 6A plus, you get 4,000. 5AA plus, you get 2,000. This one you can actually find it in our website. It's available in our website. You can actually refer to that, no problem. Now, after the foundation, as what Dr. James said, after the foundation, when you progress into our undergraduate program, you will be giving another bursary we call progression bursary. It's a 50% of your foundation fee that you pay. 50% of the foundation fee you pay. Except for those AAA plus, we will give you another 50% of your total fee, which is 12,450. Right? So if you are AAA plus, basically if you study a foundation, then you progress to UG program, your foundation is free. Right? So it's actually is a good deal, right? So for those 7A, A plus, okay, you will be given 5,000 for your bursary and foundation. Then you pay 19,900. But when you progress to the undergraduate program, you get 9,950 as a bursary. So essentially, you will get 14,950. Right? So don't worry about this calculation. When you progress into the undergraduate program, the fee will reflect all this calculation for you. Okay, all you need to know is how many A's you get. That's it. Okay, if you get 8A, congratulations. If you get 7A, also must congratulate you. You are actually a brilliant student. So please make sure that you actually send in all your actual results to us so that we can process the application. In fact, a letter offer will be given to you, and you don't have to apply. The good thing about this is you don't have to apply. The moment you send us a result, immediately, not immediately, 2-3 working days, we will send you the offer, and together with the new fee structure and all that. So you don't have to worry. Everything is not provided for, right? So you don't even need to calculate how much and all that. People will really give it to you. We give you the invoice, everything, right? So remember, our foundation, if you comes in, not only we give you the briefing for and support you in the interview training and all that, there is also a progression bursary that you can actually progress and get some bursary, which is a good deal, right? If you are AAA plus student, you basically, if you progress, you basically study a foundation for free, right? You study a foundation for free. Yeah. So please work hard. I mean those that are going for the O-level exam, make sure you work hard, you achieve that. Those at SPM, we just have to wish you good luck. I mean, make sure that you have the AA and A plus. Then you come to us. Then definitely we will honor our promise. Yeah. Okay. This is our contact. Okay, I think you can take a picture. That is actually our QR code for our admission department. Now, for you to actually visit admission department, nowadays you have to make appointment. So the QR code is basically for you to scan and make an appointment for you to come and see us, so that we can actually have some crowd control in the office and all that. You can also call us if you want. You can actually take a picture of this screen. You can also call us. Our office starts from 9 a.m. until 5:30 p.m. You can actually come in during weekday if you want to, but please make appointment. You can call us or you can write to us if you want to. I think some of you have actually contacted us, and normally we take about 48 hours to reply your message and all that. So yeah, write to us, call us, and come and see us if you want to. And yeah, that's anytime. I mean, we can actually support you, right? Okay, so basically that's all. Okay, for my presentation, it's just 10 slides. Yeah, I will pass it back to Kanaga and I'll stay on for Q&A. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Yap, for your very detailed explanation on admissions. I'm sure you have answered many of the questions on the Q&A panel actually. Okay, so Dr. James, can we go to the Q&A now? So
yeah, I'm looking at a few of them here.
Yeah, so those of you who have any questions, okay, or feedback, any comments, you can actually type on the Q&A panel. Okay, so as for a few questions that I was looking at about scholarship, I think Amanda Nafuna asked about scholarship. I think Mr. Yap has already answered that, and I've also posted the link where you can actually check on the brochures, okay, for the scholarships. And Dr. James, probably there's one question that is interesting that you probably can answer. Okay, there's a student, Mr. Chin. Okay, he asked, there's two options that we need to choose for electives. Okay, if he wants to study Cairo, is there any prerequisite? Which should he choose? How would you advise on that, Dr. James?
No, at the moment, there's no prerequisites for any degree, but we're monitoring the situation. If we found that, say, Cairo students needed more chemistry and the ones that didn't choose chemistry 3 were finding it more difficult in the degree than those who did, then we might make it compulsory, but at the moment they're all electives and you can choose.
Yep.
I spoke to the Dean of Medicine and I said, obviously biosciences and chemistry 3 are important for medicine, but he said in his opinion, psychology and statistics, given the recent COVID epidemic, are equally as important. So the answer is you don't have to do any. Obviously, biosciences, you teach that? That's mainly immunology,
virus, disease.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not essential for Cairo. They might do a little bit of that. Chemistry, there is some chemistry in Cairo, but I think chemistry 1 and 2 would be sufficient. Psychology for any clinical degree is very important because treating people is 50% psychology, 50% medicine or chiropractic. So psychology, very important. And then statistics and statistical analysis. Everybody has to do patient studies and what percentage of people who get this treatment get better, and understanding the statistics of research papers to inform your clinical life is very important. If you wish to talk to a buddy who's currently in Cairo and find out what electives they did, and if they say I would have been better to do a different elective, then no problem, we can put you in touch with them. But at the moment, there's no prerequisites.
Yes, all right. Thank you, Dr. James. Another question on actually requirement. Okay, entry requirement. This student is a year 11 IGCSE student who's taking bio, chemistry, maths, English, BM, accounting, and economics. So, but he's not taking physics and additional maths. So, will he still be able to do medicine and get into foundation in science in IMU?
Okay, so we have had students in this position before. Yep. The answer is if you want to get into medicine, dentistry, or pharmacy, you will have to take IGCSE or SPM. You can combine certificates, by the way. You can combine exams from both different media. But IGCSE is usually the best, no disrespect to SPM, because there's 2 exams every year, the local and international one. Also, the tuition centers are more oriented towards IGCSE than SPM, I believe. So you will have to do physics and get a B in physics at the next available IGCSE or before you enter medicine.
Yep.
So you will not be allowed to enter medicine until you have that B in your IGCSE. Now, this is not a requirement of IMU or Foundation in Science or the medical faculty. It's a requirement of the Malaysian Medical Council and the Dental Council and the Pharmacy Board. So it's something we have no control over. So even if you get flat 4 and you're the most brilliant student in biology, chemistry, etc., you still got to do that physics. As for AdMaths, not essential. Just in the semester 1, when you're doing Maths 1, you're going to have to work that bit harder alongside those who have AdMaths to cope up. But we have lots and lots of students who don't have additional maths, and they were all very successful.
Yes, thank you, Dr. James. I think this is my international students, Tiara. Do I have to apply for a Malaysian student pass on my own discretion, or will it be facilitated in part or whole by IMU?
It's facilitated by IMU. There's 2 ways you can do it. We have international students who are dependents here already in Malaysia, so their parents might live in Malaysia, like I do. Now, if you're under 18, then you're a dependent. You can go to college based on your dependent pass, providing you get permission to learn on your dependent pass from the visa office. If you're an adult or you're coming here first time to Malaysia or coming back to Malaysia to study, then you will have to get your VAL, your visa, okay? And that will be done through the visa office. And there's a question from a student from Singapore and my email about coming here to join the March intake, and is it too late? This is a question that we're asked a lot. There's online learning for the first 5 weeks to accommodate students who are, going to join late, and but it's a question of logistics. Will the government office have the visa issued in time, etc.? Okay, so it's not something we have under control, but we'll do our utmost to make sure it happens. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Jim. I think the next I can pose to Mr. Yap. All right. This student has applied for FIS last week and paid the application fee only. So is there any waiver?
Yeah,
Because
as long as you attended today's session, definitely we'll honor the waiver. So since you paid $150, what happened is that the next payment that you're going to make, so you just have to deduct the 150 and also don't pay the $300 we do. Right. So if you are being offered a place, so when you want to register or you want to make the payment, just deduct the $150 from the amount, then on the total amount, then should be okay. All right.
so,
Yeah, there's a few questions like that. So I kind of for
yes.
people who've already paid a semester's fees or paid this fee or that fee, and they want to know because they're here today, can they get a refund on that? So I believe the answer is yes.
Yes. So for those that already pay, the next payment that you're going to make, just deduct the 450 will do. Right.
Yeah.
So if you pay 150 and 300, so you just deduct the 450. But if you have already only paid the 150, you just deduct 150, then you pay the $300. That's all. All right.
Yep. If you have a problem with it, email me, guys. Okay.
So there's another one. I think Mr. Yap. Do I apply now even if I'm planning for June intake? How would you
Okay. What we can foresee because of the SPM exam is delayed, we probably will have a lot of application coming in June. So my advice to all students is that if the earlier you apply, the better, because there will be a chance that we will close our intake if the number is actually, because we do have a limited number of places. So the earlier you apply, and the earlier you get the offer, you can confirm the offer, then the places is yours. Yeah, so we don't want, if you apply comes in late, then we tell you, oh, sorry, you cannot, you have to go to September intake, then you probably already plan everything. So the earlier you apply, the earlier you can do your planning, so it will be better, right? Don't wait until last minute. In fact, I always advise students, don't wait until last minute. I mean, even though you want to do your English and all that, for those that have not got credit in English, you have to resit the English and all that, please don't do it last minute. Settle all these things in advance. Like application, the earlier you apply, the better. All right?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Yap. Okay, Dr. James, I think this one I can post to you. Is FIS IMU enable candidates to apply degree courses in local universities? Like
you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have students who join us to do veterinary, for example. They have no intention of coming back to IMU because we don't have a veterinary school. We have students who've left us to do optometry, physiotherapy, even engineering, although some engineering schools don't accept foundation because there isn't sufficient physics in it. So that's on a case-by-case basis. But the answer is for private universities, yes, they're actually, they want to take you from us, and we try to prevent that happening. For public universities, then you need to get a good CGPA. Their website says 3.7. I know students who've got into 3.5. Now, this is not the free public education. This is the pay education. Okay, so there's a limited number of private places in medical and pharmacy schools in UKM, UPM, etc. And then for international universities like Nottingham and Penang Medical School, yep, we have students who go there too.
Yeah.
But obviously, IMU is best, and we want you to stay with us. But obviously, we will facilitate you going for sure.
And I think there's some queries about whether March intake has started and whether they can join. Students can join. Yes, it's still open. So as Mr. Yap has mentioned, yes, you can still join us. All right. So you can click on the application link here, which is shared by our panelists. All right, that's what else? Okay, for those who are inquiring regarding the intakes for dietetics and nutrition, intakes for chiropractic, I've shared the downloads for all those brochures where you can actually have a look. Yeah, okay. What is the grade or CGPA first class honors in IMU, Dr. James?
First class honors. Well, that's basically you get an A, so it's 80% and above.
0.7.
Yeah, an A minus is 75 to 80, but 80% and above will get you the distinction. Is that correct, Ken? That's what it's called?
Distinction.
Yeah. So you'll get your distinction and get you into your degree. So if you have straight A's, why would you want to get flat 4? Well, everybody wants to get flat 4 or A and everything. It allows you to apply for scholarships. Depending on the degree you're applying for scholarship for, it's typically between about 3.9 and 4. For medicine, there's only one or two scholarships per intake, so it's super competitive because there's 200 seats. So you really need to get 4.0 or a very high 3.96 to apply to the scholarship panel. We don't favor foundation students at scholarship interviews, but they do very well because we train them on being self-contained, self-confident, used to dealing with professors like me. So they tend to go in and they tend to wow the interview panel because of the soft skill training we've given them.
Yep.
So a scholarship interview is not how much chemistry or biology you know, that's evident from your grades. It's, you know, how are you going to be an ambassador and a scholar for the university? And why do you deserve for us to give you 500,000 ringgits for free medical education? And then are you going to be bonded, and where are you going to work, etc., and why you want to be a doctor or a dentist? So first class honors is basically 80 and above, or an A. Okay, so we don't have honors. It's not like the degree per se, but we have distinction, merit, etc.
Okay.
And 50% is the passing mark.
All right. Thank you, Dr. James. Mr. Yao, I'm not sure whether you can help to brief on this, but some of the students are inquiring about hostel and accommodation, especially for those from outstation and also international students.
Yeah, for hostel and accommodation, what you need to do is that every time when we send out an offer letter, we will actually copy to our hostels department. So for student, if you need to have, if you want to actually explore whether you want to book a hostel with us, you can also write to us so that we can actually refer you to our hostel accommodation department. So they will assist you, they will communicate with you. Right, so those that would like to book a hotel, a hostel. So please actually drop a message to us. Then we will refer you to our accommodation office, so they will support you. Yeah.
I think there's a question there from Tyara, I think, who's in Singapore. Good question. It's if Tyara did take physics in O level, but not in A level. It doesn't matter. In A level, to get into medicine, you need biology, chemistry, and physics or maths. But for foundation, the medical council require that you have a prerequisite of O level. So even if you got an A in physics in A level, but you didn't do it for your O level, you couldn't do it medicine through foundation. Seems strange, but that's the way the rule works out. So the physics in your O level is kind of more important than maybe not getting a physics grade in your A level. And then the other one is common pitfalls why students lapse in their completion. Okay, the most common pitfall is not maintaining a high assessment score. So letting things lapse during the semester, not handing in your lab reports on time, not preparing for the tests because you say it's only 10%, who cares? And then hoping to make it up at the exam at the end of the semester. Oh, I'll get 50 over 50 in the exam. That rarely happens. We wish you well in trying to do that, but statistically it's very unlikely. So not managing your education and constantly learning, as opposed to grinding and studying super hard at the end of semester or just before your exams like some A-level students do, that's the most common pitfall. And your mentors are there to prevent you doing that as best as possible.
All right. Thank you, Dr. James. I think that we can take. It's easier to get into, is it easier to get into IMU medicine if I take foundation in IMU compared to foundation in any other university?
It's easier to secure your place because if, like there's 200 places in medicine, you can apply after your semester 2. So that's with 14 weeks to go before the undergraduate medicine intake. So you can apply, do your interview, secure your place if your semester 2 CGPA is sufficient, 3.5 for medicine. If it was 3.4 and you're hoping to tip it over 3.5 in semester 3, then you can apply and get on the waiting list. So you can, it's easier to, not easier to get in, but it's easier to reserve a place for you. Okay. Now, if there was one seat left and Mr. Yap had documentation from an A-level student in front of him and documentation from a foundation student, and they were both the same band, same grading, whatever it is, A, B, then generally speaking, unless there's some compelling reason, the foundation student will get in before the A-level student.
All right.
It's not written down, but that's the general practice.
Yes.
Dr. James, maybe I can add a bit. For foundation, depending on what kind of foundation that you're taking. So if you're taking another private university foundation program, let's say, for example, you go to another private university, you take the foundation program. Okay, normally cases like this, they will have to go through a selection process. The school will have to review and also give you if they approve, then only we give you offer. So if you do, let's say, for example, you do University A foundation program instead of IMU foundation program. I'm talking about the foundation that's offered in the university, not A-level, not STPM, but the foundation program. In most cases, you have to go through a selection. And if you take, let's say, for example, Sunway Taylor's Foundation, you cannot apply to our partner school program. We don't accept any other foundation program from any other institution for our partner school program. You can only join the local program, our local program. So even our local program, we still need to actually go through the selection process. So it's not automatic. So in that case, is it easier to take our foundation and come to our medicine program? The answer is yes. But if you compare our foundation and A-level, okay, the process is the same because A-level is an international exam. So we recognize those. But other university foundation, like for example, Taylor, Sunway, Help, and all that, you have to go through a selection for our local program. And for our partner school program, we don't accept any other foundation program. Yeah. So please be reminded on this. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Yap. Okay, for those who are still have some doubts whether you can still join our March intake, as I see some of you are asking here, yes, you may. Yes, our classes have started this week on 4th, but I think the advantage now with hybrid learning and online learning, we have recorded sessions. So all our tutorials and lectures are recorded. So when you come and join us even 1 week late or 2 weeks later, you can still follow up, okay, with the recorded sessions. And of course, you can actually get our lecturers to help you, all right? So yes, so there is an option there. Yes, so
Kanaka, I think just now one student asked how many intake do we have, like for example, medicine. So medicine, we have February and we have September intake. There are 2 intakes a year. But dentistry, we only have 1 intake a year, which is in February. So those that are interested in dentistry, it's advisable for you to join the February intake, so the March intake, so that you can flow into the February intake. Otherwise, you'll wait for another year. If those that want to join medicine also, I mean, it's okay to actually join the March intake and flow into February. Then you don't have to have like 6-month waiting time for your medicine degree. Yeah. So there's an advantage, but of course it's rushing and you don't have a break in between. But it's always good to actually prepare yourself and start early. Yeah.
Yep. Mr. Yap, maybe you can also help with this. In case the application to a course failed, okay, so is it possible to change course after FIS? So some ask whether can I just choose the course to study after I finish my FIS? What's your advice on that?
Yeah, definitely. I think that is also a fair statement. After the FIS, you definitely can choose any other courses. Let's say, for example, that's why when you apply for the FIS, we ask you whether we ask you to put in your option 1, option 2, and all that. Let's say, for example, you apply for a particular program, and eventually, probably because of CGPA or because of subject, you cannot actually pursue that particular program. You can always choose other program, right? So different programs have different requirements. So you see which particular program that suits the requirement, and you're okay with that, you can also join the program. So there's always option available. Right, there's always option available. Yeah. So you can definitely you can definitely apply after you finish your foundation. No issue. I mean, the only thing is that you probably have to wait a little bit longer. I mean, for the next intake and all that. So that's all, right? So I think that is basically the main point here. Well, I also have seen one questions. Those that apply for June, okay, they have put in the application. I mean, we are continuing processing all your application. In fact, we are starting to issue the June offer. So those that apply for June, you probably will get the offer letter in the next 2 days if your application is actually complete. Yeah, we have to check your application whether you submitted a complete application to us or not. Yeah, so otherwise we probably will respond to you and what are the outstanding and all that. Yeah, so just stay tuned and wait for it. So if those that already pay or have not paid the application fee today, we definitely will process your application as long as you join today's session. I hope my colleague from marketing have all their record in their name and all that so that we can check. So don't worry, those that you already pay or you have not paid and your status is pending in our application form, we will actually process your application. Then your status will change. Yeah, so don't need to pay anything after today. Yeah. So until midnight, 6 April, tomorrow midnight, okay, we will process all this application for foundation. Then you don't have to pay. Yeah, we will issue offer. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Yap. So Dr. James, probably you can just brief us a bit on the teaching and learning mode. So are we still doing online and what are the face-to-face classes? Because some students here are interested to know.
Yeah, that's relevant to a few questions. I think you're saying asked about can they join March still and join and get the accommodation and a few others.
Accommodation covered. I think
In
the
Singapore.
online,
Yeah. So now, if you join us this week in the March intake, you can join the online straight away once the fees are paid. The first face-to-face event won't be for 5 or 6 weeks, which is a laboratory. We're not fully back face-to-face yet because we've only just gone past the 1st of April, which is the watershed, and the Ministry of Higher Education have not detailed all of the SOPs. Whatever you hear from other universities, IMU will go with the government SOPs and for the best welfare of our students. So for semester 1, the only face-to-face events will be laboratories, which are around the middle of the semester, weeks 5 to about 8, plus or minus 1. And then even in extreme cases where students can't make it here, if they're international and you're waiting for your val, if the borders get closed again, hopefully not, then we will have online as well. But the government will eventually say it's not an online course. So when they say we have to go back fully face-to-face, we can. To answer the question about the accommodation, we can put you in touch with Student Affairs, you're saying, and we have hostel facilities. Now, usually people rent for the whole semester, and sometimes private landlords will push you, you better rent quickly or there'll be none left. That's just totally not true. There's plenty of accommodation available in Vista Commonwealth, etc., opposite the university. And also the Student Affairs have rooms. We have floors there that we block book, and you can get a room in those either permanently, if you want to come for the full semester and use the facilities and join for the face-to-face events, or you can also book them, I believe, short term. So let's say you're coming up for 2 or 3 weeks laboratories and you want to go back, like say you're from Perak or you're from Johor, then you can come up for book a temporary room and then go back again, or even come up and down room overnight and go back. And these facilities are still available. So if you want to know availability and the mechanism for that, no problem. You can email any of us here and we can put you in touch. For the international students who want to join March, it's dependent on their visa. So obviously, if you join the classes, if you were allowed into the course, and then you didn't get your visa, you would have to defer to the next intake. So hopefully that won't happen. And the visas obviously are, it's a busy time for the visa office. But again, we can give you an estimate of that. One student from, as I say, Singapore emailed me on that. I'll reply to that in detail. You're saying how many intakes for pharmacy? There's only one intake for pharmacy, correct? I say, yeah.
Actually, we have only one intake in September, but they can start the MPU in July 1st. Yeah, there are 2 commencement dates. Yeah.
So to join for pharmacy, you can either join March or the June intake, or the July intake, or the August intake. You'll make it.
I think for pharmacy, any of the intake should be fine because they can flow
fine,
into September.
can reach.
Yeah.
There's one question, Dr. James. I think this was the earlier one. For students who opt to complete the degree overseas, like example, Ireland, can they practice medicine in Malaysia after graduating in?
Okay, so if any doctor can apply to any country to be a doctor in that country, they have to do professional exams usually. In Ireland, if you want to come to Ireland, if you're a Malaysian doctor, you will be a member of the Royal College of Physicians of Ireland. And you usually come to do postgraduate work after your degree, and then you apply to practice here. Yes is the answer, but if the country has a surplus of doctors, so if you came back from Ireland and wanted to be a Malaysian doctor, you first of all have to do your housemanship, so you'll be competing with more junior doctors to your housemanship position. If you did IGCSE and went on partner and didn't do SPM Bahasa, you'd still have to do your SPM Bahasa, no matter what age you were, and no matter how famous a doctor you were coming back, it's still a requirement. So if you want to know the mechanism for that, email me and I'll loop in Prof. Sue or someone from medicine who knows more about these professional exams and what your chances of getting back in is. So it tends to be a mixture of academic, your ability as a doctor, and medical politics, how many doctors Malaysia is willing to admit. Now, at the moment, if you read the media, there's a surplus of doctors in some sectors. If you went to the UK, for example, if you did a Malaysian medical degree, local track with us, and then wanted to go and be a doctor in the UK, at the moment, it's very easy because they're short 20,000 doctors. in their public system. And in England and Ireland, where I'm from, I would say about 20 to 30% of all doctors in the public healthcare sector are foreign. You know, now they don't stay foreign for long. They usually get married to someone in Ireland and then have Irish, Malaysian kids stay. So it's usually a move to a new country, and you're going to be a doctor in that country, and you're going to put down roots maybe, or you might hop from a few different countries. The one that's most difficult to get into is America. You have to do what are called USMLEs. The reason for this is American medical schools are all graduate programs. That is, they only accept people who've done a bachelor in science or equivalent first. So their education system is completely different to anyone who's based on the British or the European system, like Malaysia and Ireland is, because we were both former British colonies. So it becomes a bit more tricky to get into America. But the answer is, can you? Yes, but it takes a lot of hard work and dedication to do so.
Thank you, Dr. James. Okay, I think one interesting question is, do we cap the number of students? For example, the August intake and August-September intake, the July intake?
We haven't had a cap yet. We have intakes as big as 220. And the only thing that would cap an intake is if there was so many numbers. We'd never turned a student away for foundation, that we felt the teaching would be impaired and you wouldn't have a positive academic experience. But there's no cap for practical reasons, etc. Obviously, we have to pitch you in a lecture theatre, or it might be more online if it's a very big group, particularly post-pandemic. But so far, there has been no cap. But for logistical and quality of education reasons, there might be a cap. But my advice to you is it looks like the August intake is going to be the most competitive this year after SPM. So if you have your IGCSE, my advice to you, I'm not pushing you, I'm just saying my advice is to join the current March intake, which has 100 plus students, and the July intake, which will probably have about 150 students. So they will probably be smaller classes. Being in a big class does not necessarily mean it's more difficult to learn, okay? It just means that you're, you know, I mean, online, it doesn't matter how many people are online, but in the lecture theatre where you have 200 students or 100, it's a different thing. You get more attention from the teacher. It's just the nature of teaching. No bad on our part. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. I think this question is for Mr. Yap. Just to confirm, to apply the FRS, I have to create an account. I don't actually understand what they mean.
Actually, not FIS. To apply to IMU, to go into the application form, you definitely have to create an account.
Okay.
And from there, you just continue. Yeah.
Okay. So the next question,
reason. Sorry, there was one parent. Sorry, I think Miss Jojo was asking, can they apply through WhatsApp or is it only by email?
Send the
no,
documents.
we don't accept with application with WhatsApp, because everything goes through the system. So please use the website and go into the application form and put in all the application. Put in all the application.
Yeah, but you can scan your documents with your phone and just make sure you get the originals to us eventually.
Yes,
okay.
Yes. The step is very easy. Just few steps. Just put in the application. Is as easy as filling up a form. So just do that. Yeah.
Okay, I think another interesting question that many of students want to know, Mr. Yap. Okay, so they recently completed SPM, right? Most of them. Okay, so if they pay the fee now and then the final SPM results, they are not eligible to continue the studies because probably the UG choice is not appropriate and so on. So what will they do with the fee and so on?
Okay, technically, if I also see one of the questions saying that if I'm not eligible now, I mean, my forecast result is not actually meeting the requirement. So cases like this, don't apply with using your forecast result. So my advice is that use your actual result. When the result come out, then you decide what you want to do. So we do have a lot of borderline cases and they're taking a risk. So eventually what happened is that you didn't meet the requirement, then you cannot continue. Now, doesn't meet the requirement, there are two things. There are two scenarios. One is you don't meet the requirement for foundation, means you don't even have 2 sciences. The other scenario is you don't meet the requirement for you to progress into medicine, dentistry, or pharmacy. Like for example, you don't have the 3 science subjects, mathematics, or one of the mathematics or your AdMax is C rather than B, right? You can still continue the foundation, but you have to retake the mathematics paper. So to make sure that it's a B. So you can for SPM student, you can actually take IGCSE if you want to, because IGCSE is actually there are two exam a year, so probably easier for you to access to the exam, right? So we accept a combination of O-level, IGCSE, or SPM. At any time, only two qualification. Okay, you can actually combine two qualifications if you want to. So yes, if you meet the requirement for foundation, but don't meet the requirement, they do not meet the requirement to progress to medicine, you can still continue the foundation. But if unfortunate, very unfortunate, you don't meet the requirement for foundation and you already in the program, then we will actually have to withdraw you. But whatever fee that you pay for the first semester, we will prorate it, and if there's excess, we will refund it to you, right? That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Yap. I think we have two last questions. I can pose one to Mr. Yap and one to Dr. James.
Yeah,
right?
no problem.
Maybe Dr. James first. If I study 2.5 years in Ireland and 2.5 years in Malaysia for medicine, can I become a doctor in Ireland, Dr. James? To you.
Yes, for sure. If you credit transfer to any of our partners, you leave Malaysia, you don't become an alumni, you become a partner track, a former partner track student, which is a form of alumni. But you will join Galway in Ireland and you will become a Galway student. You will be a graduate of University College Galway. It'll be on your record that you did your first 2.5 years with us in partner track, but you'll be a Galway graduate. And any student in any degree in my country and in UK, I believe, I'm not sure about England, but definitely Scotland, you can stay on and work in the country that you graduate from for between 1 and 2 years as part of your student visa. So there's lots of jobs in Ireland, particularly in the biotech sector. If you do pharm chem or pharmacy or medical biotech or biomedical science or dietetics and nutrition, lots and lots of jobs, because a lot of the multinationals are based in Ireland, because since Britain left the European Union, it's the only English-speaking country in the European Union. So all the American companies are basing themselves there. So big, huge companies. We only have a population of 4 million, lots of jobs. So you'll become an Irish doctor, okay? And then if you want to figure out the path to get back to being a Malaysian doctor or go to Australia and be an Australian doctor, then I can put you in touch with the medical faculty about that, okay?
All right.
And don't forget, we're talking about rules and regulations that will apply in 6+ years' time, okay? So God only knows where we'll be in six years' time, but hopefully everything will be fine. And also the other consideration in partner track and going abroad is you get an estimate of what the fees will be in Australia or Ireland in 2.5 or 3.5 years' time. 1 year foundation, 2.5 in IMU. Now you don't know what the ringgit euro or the ringgit pound or the ringgit Aussie dollar situation is going to be in 2.5 years' time. It's common for students to apply to go back from partner track to local track, providing we're not exceeding our Malaysian government quota. So that's okay. Someone asked, how do I get on partner track later on? Can I apply in medicine? You can, but it's very competitive. And I think I saw a question earlier about, do you have to name your partner joining foundation? No, you get your CGPA of 3.7 to go to partner track. You can apply with 3.5, but as I say, it's super competitive. So 3.7, so you apply on entry to medicine from foundation. And then you pick 3 partners. It's like a football team. So you kind of go, I'd like to go to Ireland first, and then Scotland, and then New Zealand. And then if the Ireland option is oversubscribed, so let's say there's 10 places and there's 11 applicants and you're the 11th applicant with the lowest CGPA, or you did the worst interview, then you will revert to your second choice and so forth. So students always ask us at this stage, am I guaranteed to get my partner track in UK and Queen Mary? Not guaranteed, but we can show you the way to maximize the probability that you will get your first choice partner if you get the grades. So nothing is guaranteed in life, but your brains and your hard work and your sweat will make it happen, okay? And we will help you with that.
All right. Thank you, Dr. James. One last question for Mr. Yap. So when those who are interested to apply for July and August intake, when would be the deadline, Mr. Yap?
Actually, as I say, the earlier you apply, the better, right? My advice to all students is that if your forecast result, if you're coming for July and August intake, the moment you receive your official result, put in the application immediately. put in the application immediately, because we don't want, because along the way there's a lot of communications. What our experience is that a lot of latecomer, they miss out a lot of things earlier. In fact, we did a lot of briefing in between.
Yeah.
So the earlier you apply, the earlier that we can engage with you, so that you are being informed of all the new development about the programs. Especially now, things are changing almost every other weeks. So not so much of IMU, but in terms of the policy, COVID and all that. So that's why the earlier you apply, we can prepare you better. And we, 1 week before the 1-2 weeks before the intake, we will start having briefing, engagement activities with you all. So the earlier you apply, the better it will be, right? So the moment you receive the result, put in the application. Yeah, but of course, if we have like open day like this or webinar like this, do join us then to get the freebies like waiver and all that. If you already pay, just deduct the fee from your next payment will do, right?
Thank you, Mr. Yap. Okay, I think we have completed all the Q&A session. I think it was very good question and answer session. So I would like to wrap up the talk for today. Okay, so please be reminded that we have the fee waiver for up to 450 for those who are applying today until the midnight of 6th of April 2022. And also please take note that our March intake is still open. Okay, so you may join us anytime, okay, within the next 2 weeks. And don't worry, yes, we have recorded sessions where you can actually follow up on this. So any closing remarks from you, Dr. James and Mr. Yap, before we close?
No, just 1 or 2 last questions. Interested in joining medicine, health science, chiropractic, any intake will do for those undergraduates. They all have 2 intakes. Area, if I pronounce your name right, sorry if I didn't. And then the other one was, is there a deadline for August and July intake? No, but if it fills up, then that will be a de facto deadline, but it hasn't filled up yet. That was from Evelyn. So,
Dr. James,
not as such, yeah.
The July intake is actually on June 27. Okay,
Yeah.
please put in your application much more earlier than June 27. Don't do it after June 27. Even though sometimes we open for 2 weeks, but you miss out a lot in terms of, because we do have a lot of students comes in very late, and I mean the enrollment process and all that, they miss out something, they're not happy. So earlier the better. And the August intake is 28th of August. Is it 28th August? Yes, I think my presentation 28th August. So take note of these 2 dates, 27th of June, 28th of August. Please put in your application way before these 2 dates, yeah?
True.
All right.
Okay.
All right, so that is all. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, so we have brochures and all the links for virtual IMU. Link is here. You can actually contact us anytime, okay, for inquiry. So thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you for your patience, and thank you for your interest in Foundation in Science, and looking forward to see you all here in FIS. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah. Bye.